And look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes just puts you in the right spot at the right time. And look, finally, this is where it all results. Razi Khan Walid Wasil Khan, 1975, May. The 30th of May, a couple of years earlier, Grandad had also returned to his creator. My father's uncle, Ghulam Sarwar, 16th of June 2016. My father's other uncle, Haji Ghulam Sarwar, Wald Hussain Khan. Misri Khan, Wald Gulab Khan, March 1991. Sanobar Mama, may God bless his soul. The oldest of the brothers. And the graves of all those that have left dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate their statuses in paradise. So we had lost members of my family. We had been robbed and drugged, and then within a short space of time, living with them the house that we had bought in Girlington Road in Bradford, that was also torched and burnt as well, and it also disappeared. So the question arises, many questions arise, and life gives us experiences. Life is not wrong and life is not right. Life gives us experiences that, as a person that has all these tests brought upon him and her, in case of my mother, and me as a young person, growing up with it, growing up without brothers, growing up without a sister, that I appreciate how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's nizam and system works when you grow up on your own. So life was very different in rural Pakistan at that time. It was more like this. If you had a farm in Pakistan like this, it meant that you were usually in a fairly stable position. So beautiful cold water that is feeding the paddy fields. Off it goes downstream, and it just turns towards the right hand side and off it goes merrily, feeding the crops. As I look, need a chicken sat on the edge. Look at that, how beautiful. As it feeds the fields next to Madrasa Ziaul Ulum. I'm not sure how much you can see in the camera. It's blazing hot. So growing up in the UK, we then returned in 1979 to Oldham. We lived in Werneth for a little while, where he worked at Ellen Road Yarns for a while, and he worked in various factories. Currently in Oldham. We then came to the UK, I think around about 1980, more or less. They said it was a family rapper, Nibi Masharan rapper. Chikum Sara Yani das madad karte chikum alfaz chetano gran sara ni khulapani razi. Fazal Karim Lala Pashan ke Lue Kakaji Pashan ke Baribola Kakashidano Mashar Kakaji Pashan ke help or madad har yosis Arur Munga Daud Khan Mahbub Zubair Ajab Tanvir Rais Azim Khan Nasir वगैरह दा चीज़ें तो निवे फैमिली शला or Oldham ki ba jama چې دنو سکول لتلو بیا اپریل 1982 کې چې دنو بیا بریډفورد لرالو هلته کور واغشتو اول رنټ باندې بیا کور واغشتو خپل رو زه چې د 13 کاله شلم امینجي سره مې خبره وکړه چې اوس کار دی که یونیورسټي ده نو لجي کول چې هغې طرف نه د کار چې ده نو بینک کې کار ولګېدو او قدم په قدم کال په کال میاشت په میاشت الحمدلله حالات بهتر کېدل. So the story continues. So around about 1986 87, so I left college and attempted to look for work. 56 job applications later and 33 interviews. I got used to being rejected for various reasons, no experience, being too young, not quite knowing, not quite fitting in, perhaps being the wrong colour, racism, prejudice, not having skills, but I kept going. And then one day I attended a short job interview for Bradford Council. It was a temporary role, and as I go through Shadi Khan, the role was for 8 weeks. 3 people were shortlisted. 1 person didn't turn up, and apparently my interview was slightly better than the other person's. I got into work in the local authority, helping as a clerical assistant. Every penny I had, I gave to mum and dad. About 12 weeks later, another role came up as a recruitment clerk in the school meal service, and that was the point at which my role became, I applied for the job, the role became permanent, and I continued to strive to work in a bank because that was my main aim. And 8 months later, in January 1989, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me success, and I got a job at the National and Provincial Building Society in Bradford. And life took a massive positive turn. So drawbacks of every kind in the previous decade, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu Akbar, changed the landscape of our lives. As we go through Shadi Khan. So look, what challenges have you faced in your life? How did you overcome them? What did you do? Sama kariyo, sangama kariyo. Kya aapne kiya tha? इस तरह यानी इम्पोर्टेंट इंसिडेंट्स आपकी ज़िंदगी में कौन से हैं जिसकी वजह से आपकी ज़िंदगी तब्दील हो गई? And as I sit along life's little merry road, I'm currently sat in a rickshaw, and it's very dusty outside. And the only reason I'm sat in the rickshaw is because it's a little bit of an adventure through the village as the onion salesman waits on the left hand side. Oh, and we have some building works going on. So the Khadi Khan Lara, balki Khadi Khan ke na 3 quarters chidna haidi. There's another Chinji. So our experiences are not wrong, and our experiences are not right. They are just our life's experiences. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us in different ways. Would I have known that I would have been in this place at this time, travelling in this direction? Hey, and look what I'm coming up to. One of my favourite person's houses, favourite family's houses. You know who you are as you watch the video. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always bless you and keep you under his shade and bring togetherness and harmony and happiness in our lives. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lift the examinations that we're under, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us afiyat in our lives. And there's the wheats being harvested by what's known as a trepidation. So could you ride in a rickshaw that's falling and moving and shaking? As we go past the newly built Abdullah CNG station. Actually I said CNG, it's actually petrol and diesel as well. And as we go past the Circa Moor on Reza, it's Reza, my favourite village, in the distance. Here we go, a lovely home that seems to be more developed every time I see it. And it says Reza 1 kilometre, which is about 1,600 meters. So share with me, what have you learned from watching these videos? If that is, you've learned anything, viewers. Do you find them fun? Do you find them informative? Just wandering around, wandering down life's path as we come into the actual village. And that was the first day. So I have jumped out of the rickshaw, and it's not often in our hustling, bustling, busy lives that we have time to reflect and time to just think and take stock of what we have been doing, where we are going, what our goals are, what our family goals are, what our individual goals are, what our business goals are, what our spiritual goals are, because we can all continuously improve. And to be fair, being in the village, we are simply outsiders sometimes looking in, and I sometimes reflect. I often go and sit in crowds of people in the guest houses, etc. However, I don't always take part in their, as iftikhar comes from the opposite direction. माशाल्लाह कन ओकर वही चुरते गुरजी चासर उधरी की सो दुआ वे सलाम भी अल्लाह का नाम है कन ओकर शहजाद तपोसो को कन शहजाद तपोसो अखबलतने तपोसो का हां शहजाद खबी मस्त उनका यूं सिखला माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह नूर अखबलत तबीयत good माशाल्लाह. So there goes iftikhar akhuna ala salur khabar mashallah. So I was just saying, in terms of being in the village, that is often listen and just reflect. They have a million qualities, but one of the qualities which is extremely poor, and I'm not blaming anyone, it's just how it is, specifically in the village, and specifically when they're village type ladies, is you just throw them a little something about a certain subject, or they just pick a certain subject and that's it. They go into it with, oh goodness, and it's just rubbish, really. So it's something I tend to avoid. However, on the opposite side of the coin, one of the things that I love are Pakistani clothes. So for all the people हमेशा چې ما تپوس کوي بای زړوکي وغیرہ چا جوړ کړی دي دیسی زمان حارس ماشاءالله یې لګیا دی اور هي د څه جوړې وسه کپړتي دي او ګره کټینګ لکه کوي دا غي څه پیته وغیرہ څه بارډرې وغیرہ لکه حارس یې جوړي ګرمه استری خدا inshallah it's a small corner place. So here's one that's been prepared. Here's another one that's been prepared. هيدا چې دا پرون په خبر کارخانونو کپړه راغلی دا look at it upside down. There we go, look ګل احمد کپړه ده دا کټکول غواړي so زیاتو خلکو لکه کپړې وغیرہ چی نو هغه سلور غزونه کیږي or mine's often half sleeves so mine's 3.5 meters and if you look in the corner there look there's also a mince meeting machine هيدا هارش دا یو بلای تیار کړه is not ironed yet so the kitchen in the car la پاتې ده car څه چر आवाज راغلو or it's a tractor. Yes, so back to clothes and Pakistani clothes and Haris. Distractions all over the place in Faisal. So lovely people, they keep stopping and saying salam and I forgot what I was talking about and discussing. So in terms of Pakistani clothes, they go back to the empires, to the Mughal empires and beyond. Silwar kameez are very comfortable clothes, easy to wear, very cheap to actually make as well. They're very flexible, can be washed thousands of times, and Pakistan is famous for its textiles industry. Industry is absolutely massive. Gul Ahmed has the biggest factory, I think, in Pakistan, based in Karachi, Lawrencepur, or what they call locally as Lawrencepur. Textile mills, probably about 45 miles away from here. Somebody waves in the distance. So I'm currently wandering through the Mohalla. I think it's known as Marki Khel, with its very tall houses, very tall houses. And in fact, sometimes the richer you get, the higher you go. And maybe not. As the kids come out, and there is a shopping cart in the distance. It's a fairly warm evening. Maghrib Salah is just around the corner, and the vehicle that is coming behind me beeps his horn because it's something quite regular in Pakistan. So officially it's a warning, but it's more or less used for everything. Pressure horns are very common. Assalamu alaikum. Pressure horns are very common in Pakistan, blamp, blamp, in the cities and various other places as well. Sometimes it can knock you off your rocker if you're not watching closely enough. So if you associate with Wesa, nothing but praise for you. MashaAllah. The associations, the Wesa Falahi group, the Anmol group, and many others that I don't even know what they are called, but I know they have massive influence. The welfare societies, the amount of work that they do, the recycling plant, which has been supported by thousands of people, is also in the area. Hundreds of personalities, mashallah, from this village that have massive influence, not only in the village, but across in other parts of the world too. And I can talk about the communities in the UK that associate with this village and with these places. Comment below if you're from here, if you have an association to this place. Do you visit Vesa? Do you visit Pakistan? What do you think of the place? What's good about the place? What can be improved about the place? How can it be developed? What are your ideas? Do you have ideas? Are you a thinker? Do you think about thinking? Do you contemplate? Do you do muhasiba? Or do you just go with the flow? Do you have to be told to do everything? Or are you a director? Or are you simply just someone that is social? Or do you just care about everything? Are you one of those that says money is a root of all evil? Or do you say, well, the more money that you earn, the more opportunities you will have, the more you can help people? Because sometimes to change someone's life and save someone's life, the difference can be £5 or $5. But the issue is we don't need one £5 or one $5. We have thousands of things to do. And our families, mashallah, from Oxford have a massive influence upon this area. Bradfordians too, on the Bradford and Oxford Road, depending on which passport that you actually have, will make a difference to the direction in which you turn. And all of a sudden it's night time. And I'm still in Sparky Hill, people who have such joyous characters and have a little bit of spark to their character. I'm told that others, Yukaka Hills and Yubata Hills, people locally tell me this, by the way, are a little bit more mild. But hey, that's how the cookie crumbles. So tiarada, babu dekta chidan program, mashallah. We had a 4-course meal, so it's time to digest it a little bit, or move it a little bit, digest the food. So the potato sac of the stomach moves a little bit. And alugan ukhazi ra ukhazi, no borai ke balone zyad zeshi, no biabana normal pakia choleshi. And inche deno lone zyad garmiwa. Or lone inche deno the gobali la kya ki threshery lagi dilli. So thoda che deno abo hawa ke atmosphere ke che deno kafi thoda da. और मखने चले ना उप ठपर ठपर the tractor आवाज़ लगे राजी so जान बते न बचकाऊ. There it goes, full of wheat. Now there's about 10 people in there, lots of wheat. वक्ती चले ना बिजली में चले वा किले की बिजली चले वा ना इस मकबाने ना सुनो खर्चे तो ना ठपर ठपर माशु चले ना जमुना खपो माने मज़ी कड़ी दी. So in Pakistan, it's time for rest. Lari kuseche dana quiet honidi. Mungazu no one walko or Harris Taylor. So kapde che dana jodi kardi. Na no yo dwa jodi kapde che dana uchati ku inshallah. So wherever you're watching, comes there to guri, whether you're east, west, north or south, may you be blessed, happy and joyous. From me here in Vesa to all those that are watching, have a wonderful blessed day, and in the dark, assalamu alaikum.